everyone. I'm here with the fabulous Karen Sleno at Flushing High School in Flushing, Michigan. Karen is a bright, shining star in the world of AP Calculus and AP Precalculus, and with Math Medic and with TI. So we're lucky to have her here with us. Karen, tell us a little bit about your history with AP, and then we'll talk about Calc Medic.
Right. Well, thanks for having me today, Kelly. So happy to be here. I've been teaching AP of some variety or other probably for 25 years. So AP Calculus has been where it's at. This year, I'm a pioneer like you, teaching AP Precalculus as well, but the class is amazing, so I'm having a great time doing it.
Awesome. So how did you get involved with, should I call it Math Medic or Calc Medic?
I discovered Calc Medic probably 5 years ago, I think it was, and I just did a few of their lessons, and I didn't really understand how they could fit into a curriculum. And then one summer, some of the math teachers here and I did some professional development with Calc Medic, and we learned how the lesson should actually go, and that made all the difference. So now that's primarily how I do my instruction, is I let the students explore first, and then I fill in the details later.
So with the new Precalculus, AP Precalculus curriculum, how do you feel like, because I know, so it's hopefully teachers watching this, and we're all feeling unsure about the curriculum and the pacing, and I mean, you know, each lesson is, you know, new for us as teachers. How do you go about constructing a lesson, building Calc Medic into your daily activities?
So we are on a traditional schedule here. So I have my students every day for 48 or 58 minutes, depending on the day. So Calc Medic is how the lesson begins. So Sarah at Calc Medic has created lessons for every single topic in the CED, which is awesome, and they're in order. And she has done an amazing job, considering nobody really knew what the course would look like in those days a year ago, right? But she was able to see those underlying ideas that we really needed to flesh out. And so her lessons do that. So when I begin a lesson, I scramble up my students, they get the activity, they work through it together, and then we talk together and we fill in all the gaps. And then they have a check your understanding to see what they've learned from there. And it's working, and they're talking math like I've never seen them talk math, which is partly the AP Precalculus course, but it's partly Calc Medic too.
So what are you using as, I guess, what are you using for homework? Is it Calc Medic or?
So Calc Medic does have a homework platform, and that you do have to pay for, but I do use those worksheets because those questions are really deep thinking, and that's exactly what it's all about with Calc Medic. But I also use Delta Math to give the students that practice where they get the immediate feedback and know if they're doing it right, can watch videos if it's not correct, and then we have mastery checks on that. So that's how I kind of assess how their progress is coming, and they get feedback on what they know and what they don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is 100% of your lesson planning based on Calc Medic, or are you pulling in any other resources besides Delta Math and Calc Medic?
Those are probably 95% of what I'm using.
Wow, so that's really covering everything you need.
It really does. Flipped math is great too. Sometimes I'll go there for problems. Brian Passwater's materials, of course, are fantastic, so sometimes I'll go to his as well. But really Calc Medic and Delta Math are my primary resources, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that you just came back from a conference with Texas Instruments.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to tell us exciting with TI?
Well, I really think that incorporating the technology into the discovery is part of the battle, but it's also part of the cool thing that happens. And with AP Precalculus, there's so much about modeling and understanding that when you look at data, it could be several different function models, right? So how do you decide what's good? So at that conference, I attended several AP Precalculus sessions, and we talked about how do we use the technology in collaboration with the resources to really bring it all home.
Okay.
So it was really good.
So just thinking about AP Precalculus, I know you've taught Precalculus for a long time.
I did.
What do you think, if you had to pick, I guess, one topic or one, I mean, unit is too broad, but I want to kind of narrow it down on something that you really love teaching this year that maybe you hadn't thought about that perspective before AP Precalculus.
Oh, that's tough because it is a first year. So everything is kind of a aha moment.
Yeah.
I'm having those a lot. But I will tell you, we're about to talk about the tangent function, and I have never thought about the tangent function in terms of slope as much as I need to now. And so I know my students are going to have a huge, wow, I had never thought of that before, because it really makes the whole function make more sense. And I just never thought of it like that. So for the moment, that's my aha. There have been lots of them though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So final thing, what advice would you give to the teachers that are listening? Let's say maybe a newer teacher that hasn't taught pre-calculus forever and
Forever.
and maybe that's a good thing,
Yeah.
you know, that they're just coming into AP Precalculus. But so new teacher, what kind of advice would you give them?
So I feel like a new teacher, and I think we all do with AP
Yeah.
Precalculus, even though I've been teaching 30 years. So I think we just have to give ourselves some grace and say, you know what? This year isn't going to be amazing, but next year is going to be better, and every year will. You can't do it all every year. You can't, but you have to say, you know what, this went really well, I'm going to keep that, and this didn't, so I will think about how to change that for next year. And that's just what we do.
That is great
And
advice.
even people who are 30 years in, we're still doing that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Karen Sleno, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kelly.
And for all of you out there, I hope you tune in sometime in the next couple of weeks whenever the next video comes out.